What is up, and welcome to the Underground. It is Ned, joined by Jay from Frenzal Rhomb. Big case of big interview feels right here. Jay, how you going, man?
I'm very well, thank you, Ned. How are you?
I'm going really well, man. Like this, I grew up on you guys throughout the late 90s, early 2000s sort of thing. Mum changed the locks,
Oh,
and man's not a camel, and it's great to see you guys still going.
yes, well, what else are we going to do?
That's a great question. What else would you be doing?
I don't know. I've always I make a pretty good sandwich, so job in Subway or something like that, something in food prep.
Yeah, there you go. That's interesting there. You could be so what? Is that your go-to specialty, Subway sandwiches or like making sandwiches or what's the go?
No, not really. I just have no idea what else I would do with my life, to be honest. Yeah, it's no one had any idea that it would be going this long. That's for sure. When we first started, I think it's 30 years this year that we've been a band. So
That's insane.
it is absolutely insane. But yet here we are with our 10th album.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Jay. I think I've been on them for about 25 of those years, man. And I wanted to say it's a great time for Aussie music right now. Grinspoon's about the only one that's not sort of on the go at the moment. I was going to say Regurgitated Back, Spider Bait, Body Jar. She had pretty much everyone that was on Spring Loaded. What's your sort of takes on the Aussie music scene at the moment? And is it a big time case of nostalgia or what's your sort of takes on it?
I mean, I guess all of those bands that you just mentioned, yeah, like those spring loaded shows and stuff, like they're really fun. They are sort of definitely deeply nostalgic for people. And to be honest, like I kind of shied away from those sort of festivals for a while, thinking, we still put out a lot of new albums and stuff when we can, and kind of tour as much as we can and stuff, and didn't really want to sort of fall into that total nostalgia sort of trap. But then we played a couple of those festivals and I'm like, I'm a fucking dickhead. Like these people are just having a really good time. And, there's just people my age having an absolute blast. And for a lot of those people, those old songs, they sort of mean a lot to them and they grew up with them and stuff, like you said. And so it's taken me to just be less of a snob and go, like it's actually just a fun time.
Oh, you'd be the last person I put down as a snob, Jay. But I think it is great that you guys have continued to go strong throughout, and the Cup of Pestilence is out now. That album, man, is just so much fun. What's the secret to your longevity? Would you say?
I don't really know. I mean, I guess it's like what we were talking about. That sort of I've got a bit of a drive not to sort of have the thing that we wrote 25 years ago being our best thing for all time.
Yeah.
Like I'm always trying to push myself with songwriting and for the band, like within the band, it's very important that it's a fun time. So all the songs that we kind of end up choosing end up being kind of at least really fun to play for us, and pretty kind of stupid lyrics a lot of the time, and sort of it sort of keeps us interested and having a good time, I guess. And the shows as well, like the shows keep us going. Like there's always a lot of goodwill in the room whenever we play, and there's always a lot of people, and it's nice having people kind of interested in the new songs. And the only way to do that really is to try hard with the songwriting and recording and everything, and try and do it properly and not kind of sell ourselves short.
Yeah, no, absolutely love it there. I hear what you're saying for sure. And like I was sold on the album before it even come out. Like Old Mate Neck Tattoo. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I need to hear that song. And there's not many. You just like read the track list to a song and get so hyped. Dead Man's Underpants. I think that's one of my favorite ones on there as well. Where do you keep sort of finding inspiration for all of this, funny stuff, Jay?
Oh man, just my friends. Like friends and neighbors and just the people. Like I don't know, my wife and I are very social people, and so we've always got people around, and we go around to people's places and stuff. And it's always those sort of late night conversations where these stupid ideas come out, and
Yeah.
I don't know, just like like all of us in the band have got our notes app at the ready at any point where, you know, when anyone says anything stupid, we're like, oh, good song title, write it down. And, you know, like 400 of them will be terrible, but occasionally you get some gems, you know.
Oh yeah, man. So what is that where How to Make Gravox come from you hosting a dinner night?
It was something like that, I think. Yeah, we were talking about that song. It might have even been one of, actually it could have, but now that I'm thinking about it, that could be attributed to Laneway Dave, who also gets a song on the record.
Yeah.
We hang out a lot. He's a neighbor of mine, and he's an absolute gem of a human, and always, you know, coming up with pretty funny stuff. But yeah, it's just those conversations where you sort of turn from kind of just like talking absolute garbage to going like, oh, maybe that's a good song idea.
Yeah, and you were just saying too, Jay, like there was like I read somewhere that you're just sitting on a whole bunch of unreleased music as well, and you said you might write up to 400 or whatever, and you've knocked it down to whatever you had on the album. What happens to all those other songs?
There's a little thing called the rubbish bin.
Yeah, right.
We like to put him in, never to be heard of again. Yeah, the other guys, like some of the guys, kind of troll through old unreleased stuff and go, "Oh, what about this one?" Whereas I'm much more like, "There's a reason why I didn't go on the last record. Let's just not talk about it ever again. Let's just write a new song instead." But yeah, I think 400 is probably a stretch, but I think we had about 60 songs for this 60 demos for this record.
Wow.
And then, yeah, we've got this kind of elaborate spreadsheet where everyone votes for their favorite songs to make up the half an hour's worth of music. And if that's not enough, then everyone gets like a wild card and they can vote for their kind of precious song that they love for some dumb reason. And then, yeah, and then usually, you know, everyone's mainly happy with how it all sort of turns out.
Yeah, nice, man. And was much of this sort of recorded during the COVID downtime? A lot of the people I chat to just recorded a whole bunch of music throughout COVID and the lockdown period. Is that when you guys got super busy, or has it been since then?
Yeah, it was probably the opposite, really. Like I think we didn't really do very much at all during COVID because, you know, Gordy lives in Melbourne and Lindsay's in Wollongong and Dale's in Newcastle, so we couldn't actually get together at all. And I felt like I didn't really like. I think probably, to be honest, I got a bit depressed during that time, and I couldn't be bothered doing anything. So it was sort of before and after that we wrote. I think we might have had one demo session during that time when the lockdowns lifted for a bit, but yeah, for the most part, like we were writing up until that happened, and then since then.
Oh yeah, nice, man, nice. Hey, thought it was yoga, but it was ketamine. Best video ever. Was that you that come up with that concept, Jay?
I think well, that was the actual song was one of Lindsay's, and that was about a friend of his that was like a high flying kind of Macquarie Bank kind of corporate guy, and and he was friends with Lindsay and his wife. And he ended up, they saw him like a couple of years later, and he was like, he's grown his hair out, he quit his job, and he's like, I found mindfulness, you know, like I found yoga, and I've been eating really well and exercising and doing all this stuff. And then at the end of the night, he's like, "Do you want some ketamine?" And Lindsay's like, "That's not the fucking yoga, mate. That's quite relaxed." And so yeah, he wrote the song, and then I think Fox, the guy that made the video, he was like, "I'm pretty sure if I just get you guys in leotards, that's pretty much the job done."
It definitely did the job. You guys just look like, yeah, you have so much fun recording those. Is there any more to come off this album?
Video wise, I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, I think we were talking about doing something for Gone to the Dogs, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're doing.
Yeah, nice. Time to break out those yoga pants again, or maybe not?
I think we've probably done that now.
No, definitely, man. All right, I want to change things up to some of your old stuff, Jay. Like, did your mum ever change the locks?
Oh, listen, that's a hard no, but she did. She was a teacher at that time, and she definitely had students in her class. She was a high school teacher, and definitely had kids that were like fans of the band, thinking that she had done that. So,
Oh yeah,
equal parts proud and punished by it. But
Man, was that hard for you having a mum as a teacher and you being the, vocalist of a punk rock band, or was it all cool?
I mean, it was probably harder for her than it was for me.
True.
Having to, have these reprobate kids in a class, but no, they're very supportive. My parents, especially these days. It was a bit of a different subculture for them to get their heads around, but
Yeah.
as a life choice for your child to be, going on this sort of strange path. But yeah, they're big supporters these days.
Oh, I love that right there, Jay. And I actually did one of my questions I was going to ask you. And in all seriousness, I do think that the sandwich thing was a joke. What do you think you would be doing if it wasn't for music?
I don't know, probably nothing. I mean, I've got this studio here, and so that's sort of like what I do in between shows and stuff. Is I like help out bands with their recordings and do a bit of production work on stuff, and yeah, make people's records with them, and
Nice.
yeah, been pretty busy in here and stuff lately. Like doing a lot of young bands, a lot of young punk bands coming through, and yeah, some really good stuff happening. Like I think when we were talking before about all those bands that are doing that sort of nostalgia thing, like there's so many really great young bands at the moment, like doing kind of really aggressive, interesting, political, funny music, like, and I think for a lot of people our age, they don't really know that that's happening. Like
Yeah.
parents at my kids' school and stuff who think that their lives are completely over, and they're like, "Oh man, I remember the day back in the day we used to do this and this." I'm like, "Dude, you can go to your local pub and see the best band ever, like tonight."
Yeah.
And it's yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot going on.
Yeah, well, I actually really loved what you said earlier about you didn't want to be one of those bands that's, surviving off something that you did 25 years ago. I think it's good how you guys have been able to blend in and do it both. That being said, Jay, who are these young bands that we should be looking out for?
Oh man, well, I mean, a big one that we just finished their record is that band Coffin. I think I've got one of their t-shirts on.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah, band Coffin. They've been touring with that band Amel and the Sniffers a lot, and now they're really starting to go well. And yeah, I saw them at a festival a couple of weeks ago down in Melbourne, and it was just so great to see the crowd, and see them reaching this sort of wider audience and stuff. And yeah, there's so many bands. Just now I'm blanking on absolutely all of them. Um, Private Wives in here recently. They're really great from Wollongong. We got Flangipanis, a bunch of bands that are supporting us on this tour, like Mannequin Death Squad. They're great. Um, yeah, there's just all sorts of bands. A new band in Sydney called Tantichrist, which are really great.
Oh, Antichrist. That's a great name.
There's a band playing with us in Gosford called Canine. They've been around for a while. They're like one of the best hardcore bands that you'll ever see ever. But yeah, there's millions of them.
Oh, that's cool. And great to see that you're still involved on the music side of things. I really love that right there, man. And you guys hitting the road. I think you're playing Melbourne this week. Uh, how is it on the road these days? You still party as much as what you did back in the day? You're a little bit more tame.
Probably party more now than we used
Yes.
to. We're sort of a bit more selective about where we have parties. Like a rookie move we've realized over the years is to ever agree to go with anyone that you don't know ever anywhere.
Yeah.
Like if after the shows you always get people going, "Oh, come to this club, would be great." And when you're in your 20s, you're like, "Oh, that sounds like a great idea." And all of a sudden it's like 6 a.m. and you're talking to people that you never ever would have talked to in your whole life otherwise. So now we tend to like get everything that we need and go back to the hotel with the people that we know and that we like, which is usually the band and whatever friends we have in that town, and just kind of hang out somewhere close to our beds, so we can always call it at any time. We're not like searching for an Uber at 5 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah,
But
nice.
yeah, we're professional, sensible partiers.
Love it, Jay. That's a very good advice right there. Stay close to home, but still have fun. Hey, man, I want to grab a Netflix recommendation off you. What's something, or Netflix or a movie or something cool that you've checked out lately?
I mean, I guess I'm watching the same things that everyone's watching at the moment, like Secession. I really like at the moment. and watching that what's it called, Yellow Jackets is pretty cool.
Oh, I've heard that's good. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
But yeah, nothing particularly out of the ordinary. I don't know. What was I watching last? Oh, you know what's great is the Australian version of Alone.
Oh, good is it?
At the moment is that reality TV show about survivalists, and I've been watching it since the start when they started doing it in Canada, and yeah, I really like that. I think that's probably what I'd be doing if I wasn't in a band. I'd be a survivalist, and
Nice.
I'd probably last about 2 days, but
Yeah.
you know, until I got really hungry, and then I'd
I think I'd last 2 hours. That's in Tasmania, isn't it, where they put them on that show?
yeah,
Yeah, nice, man, nice. All right, well,
yeah.
thank you so much for taking time out, Jay. Really appreciate it. Before I go, I was reliving A Man's Not a Camel, and I wanted to know whatever happened to that Frenzal horse, dog, or whatever it was that you were having on that track?
It was a horse, and
Yes.
it was named after the band. I think there was some. It was like some guy that was part of a syndicate of horses, and he got his kid to name a bunch of his horses. So he named one of them. His kid was a bit of a Frenzal fan, so he named one of the horses Frenzal Rhomb, and it was all a bit awkward because you know we're all vegetarian and vegan and separationists, and it was a bit weird. Like, and they would call our manager all the time saying like, "Oh, do you want to go in on another horse?" You know, like, and we're like, "No." And I think we met the trainer up in Darwin once. And it was either a lie or not, but we were saying like, whatever happened to Frenzal on the horse? And like, oh, you know, it's a family pet. Yeah, it's out in a really big paddock somewhere. It's a lovely time, and it's definitely glue.
I'd forgotten all about that. I was reliving it the other day. I'm like, man, I got to ask Jay that. But thank you so much for taking time out, man. It has been a bunch of fun. Frenzal Rhomb's brand new album, The Cup of Pestilence, is out now. Pick it up on a very nice looking vinyl as well. And these guys are about to hit the road. A whole bunch of dates coming up. Need some regional Victoria in there, Jay. Would be very awesome. But get those tickets at tix.to/Frenzal Rhomb. Thank you so much, Jay.
No worries, man. Yeah, we're gonna do some more regional stuff like later in the year or early next year, I think.
Nice. That'd be all sorts of awesome. Really appreciate it.
Cool, Ned. Cheers, man.